Alright, buckle up. Here's my story, told plain and simple like I'm sitting across from you at the diner. Gotta warn ya, some of this stuff still gives me the creeps thinking about it. Part 1. The Church and the Clicking Well. Look, I ain't gonna bore you with my whole life story or nothing too personal, but I gotta say, I've always been kinda off by myself. Ever since I was a little kid, I didn't have many buddies. Spent most of my time glued to video games, whatever console I had hooked up. Then, when I hit high school age, something shifted. I started taking these long walks, just wandering. Through woods, through graveyards. And then, well, I kinda got hooked on going places I wasn't as supposed to be. Sneaking into cemeteries after dark was where it started. Got bolder after that. Old hospitals shut down, schools boarded up. Once I got my driver's license, man, the whole county opened up for my weird little hobby. I only dragged one of my few friends along maybe twice. Honestly, I liked it better solo. Part of my particular brand of weirdness was that poking around these spooky, empty places in the dead of night, all alone, didn't scare me one bit. Well, didn't. Used to scare me, I guess I should say now. Fin in these spots was easier than you'd think. I'd just fire up Google Earth, zoom way in on the backwoods areas, and hunt for buildings that looked forgotten, tucked away where nobody was looking. I'd make a list of 5 to 10 spots and try to hit them all in one day. Sometimes I'd be wrong, and the place wasn't abandoned at all, but I got pretty good at picking them. Involved a lot of bushwhacking through thick woods, let me tell you. Yeah, I had a job. Worked stocking shelves at the supermarket for minimum wage. So when I wasn't there or in class, this is what I was doing. One day, one of the spots on my list turned out to be this little church, way out in the sticks. Parked my car on a dirt track and walked in. Took about 10 minutes. I always wore jeans and good boots, so I could move through the brush without tearing myself up. Started noticing old, rusted out garbage cans and other junk scattered in the woods, a sure sign I was getting close. Then, through the trees, I saw a clearing and a shape. There it was, a beat-up, fallen apart old church, just sitting in this random clearing. Right in front of it was an old stone well. Walked over to check if it was capped off, but surprise, surprise, it wasn't. I leaned over and looked down. Pitch black. Couldn't see the bottom. But when I stopped and listened, I heard something. A faint click dash. Then, 2 seconds later, another click dash. Didn't sound like water drip pin. Best way I can describe it? Like someone tapping a stick on a stone wall. Got real curious. Stared down into that black hole longer than was smart. Kinda hypnotized by that steady click, click, click dash. Finally shook myself out of it and figured I'd check out the church. Stepped onto the porch. Wood so rotted it groaned and sagged under my feet. The big double doors were hanging open a bit, which wasn't unusual, unless it was some famous spot plastered all over the internet. Most of these abandoned joints weren't boarded up tight. I pushed one door open wider. Made this awful, loud groan that echoed through the trees. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the smell of old, damp wood. Light streamed in through busted stained glass windows. Some of the pews were tipped over, some were just gone. Up front, the pulpit leaned crooked, and behind it, a dark, arched doorway led further in. Did my usual thing, swept the room with my flashlight, snapped a few pictures with my digital camera for my collection. There was a sad beauty to it, you know? A holy place fallen apart. Beautiful, but real tragic. I walked slow towards the back, to that arched doorway. Stepped through into a narrow hallway with what looked like old storage rooms off it. One door was missing. The others were busted or hanging off their hinges. Cobwebs draped everywhere. Then I saw it. At the end of the hall, stairs going down into the basement. Jackpot dash, I thought. Like I said, nothing much used to spook me. Nothing reasonable. Anyway, fit in an abandoned basement always gave me a thrill, but this time, that open basement door, gaping into pure darkness below, it made me pause. Honest to God, I felt a chill run down my back. But I pushed on. Started down the stairs real slow. Every step creaked, so loud I was sure the wood would snap. Counted 7 steps down. Then my right foot landed on one that just cracked and gave way under me. Didn't have time to react. Fell hard, landed right on my tailbone in a pile of junk and dirt under the stairs. Hurt like hell. Let out a yell, probably "God damn it," or something like that. My flashlight flew out of my hand. Crawled over in the dark to grab it. That's when I heard it. A voice. High-pitched, like a woman or a young boy. It was saying words, but I couldn't make him out. Except for one thing clear as day, hello. The rest was just garbled nonsense, like someone trying to talk who didn't know how. I scrambled to my feet, flashlight beam darting around. Just a typical old basement, busted furniture, mostly old cots, dirt floor, stone walls. Then I saw it. A tunnel dug right into the wall. Looked hand-dug rough. And that voice. It was coming from down their dash. Started walking towards it. Yeah, I know, dumb move. But I had to know. Took just a couple steps inside the tunnel. Walls were jagged, definitely shoveled out by hand. Suddenly, my flashlight started flickering. Nearly jumped out of my skin. Smacked it a couple times. It stayed on, but making more noise than I meant to. The voice got louder. Still gibberish, same weird tone, but definitely coming from deeper inside. Then it just stopped. Dead quiet for a few seconds. Then, click dash. 2 seconds later, click dash. Same rhythm, same sound as the well. And the sound echoed, coming closer. Those clicks and that crazy voice echoing were getting louder. My heart was pounding in my throat. I turned and ran dash. Got back to the stairs, remembered the broken step. Grabbed the sides and hauled myself up, scrambling over the gap instead of trying to jump it. Dropped my flashlight, didn't care. Just needed to get back upstairs to the light. Didn't look back. Ran through the hallway, through the main room, burst out the front doors. Ran past the well and skidded to a stop for a second. The clicking was gone. No sound at all. Come to think of it, total dead silence. Not even birds. I looked down that well one more time. Still nothing but black. With that, I took off through the woods, getting back to my car way faster than I got to the church, though I was gasping for air. Called it a day right there, skipped the other spots on my list. Drove home in silence, no radio. Just didn't know what to think. Didn't quit exploring altogether, but I took a break. I was spooked, plain and simple. I hope it was just some other kids messing around down there. But deep down, I know that sounds real unlikely. This happened a while back, and it's still stuck in my head. Part 2. The Farm and the Faceless Man. Me and my buddies, let's call them John and Anthony, we like being outdoors. One day, bored out our skulls, we decided to go fishing deep in the woods near some farmland. Got chased off by a farmer and his dog. We tried hiding, but that dog sniffed us out. Farmer threatened to call the police, even though he was already on the phone with his pal, which we thought was kind of strange. Honestly, we kind of laughed it off. So, for some dumb reason, we thought it'd be a great idea to go back the next day and sneak onto that same property to explore. It was getting close to dark, maybe an hour left. Place was huge, acres and acres. Had to hike through some deep woods again, similar to where we were fishing. Even though we checked it out on Google Maps, it was still easy to get turned around. I remember thinking we better be out of there before full dark. At first, everything seemed normal. No bad feeling in my gut. We were admiring the horses, even petting a few. I remember thinking it was weird, all this farmland and only horses. My uncle's farm is way smaller, but he's got like 10 different kinds of animals, not just one. I brushed it off, figured maybe the owner just specialized in horses. After pushing through the woods, we reached the fence bordering the main property. John was lead in. I was in the middle, Anthony behind me. That's when we stumbled on it. A rundown house surrounded by a bunch of fancy trophy cars and a busted-up recreational vehicle. We were shocked. Snuck around looking at the cars. There was also this real creepy-looking shed nearby. It was crazy. I even took a video. Saw multiple Porsches, Range Rovers, Ford Raptors, Bentley sports cars, Corvettes, Ferraris. The deeper we went and the more cars we saw, the more we realized we probably, really, shouldn't be seeing this. Some cars were clearly being parted out. We started thinking it had to be some kind of car theft ring. After we'd seen the cars, John got the bright idea to check inside the camper while Anthony kept watch. I held the door open cause John's the smallest, figured he could squeeze in best. Inside looked like someone was living there, fishing rods, fresh food, bedding, other stuff. Even car tires inside. Even though the camper was beat up, it was clearly someone's home. We got out of there fast. We weren't there to break stuff, just look. We snuck around to the back of the property where more cars were piled. Saw some side-by-side off-road vehicles. Figured they probably used them to run the place. There was also that rundown shed. Went around back of it and caught this awful, foul smell. We kind of just choked, laughed it off, joked about maybe it being a body. None of us really believed it though. Then we heard it. The gate at the entrance of the property clang open and slammed shut. It was maybe 1,000 feet away. We started heading back towards the tree line, trying not to be seen, when a van turned onto the dirt road we were near. It was getting dusk, headlights were on. We took off sprinting through the woods, not sure if he saw us. That was when we should have left. But no, we decided to explore the other side of the property. After walking the outskirts and hiking through more woods, saw even more horses, we finally got to the main house. Again, looked real rundown. About 25 feet to the right, almost hidden, was another camper, or something that looked like one. Thing was massive, maybe 50 feet long. Looked like it hadn't moved in 50 years. We almost missed it cause it was completely covered in vines. Right next to it was another beat-up jet ski, also vine-covered. We managed to pry the door open a bit, but didn't want to make noise cause we were so close to the main house. Even though it seemed abandoned, we were being cautious, not just cause we were trespassing, but cause the suspicious stuff on both ends of the property, probably connected to the car ring, made us nervous. If we got caught, it'd be bad news. We snuck around the house and saw what was probably the fanciest car on the whole place. Old and run down, but still amazing, a Ferrari. Didn't get a picture or video, cause we were right by the house and the horses were making a racket. We got sketched out on the far end. Saw a boat and a big cooler inside what looked like an old fridge unit. John poked around the boat. The cooler was about 15 feet into some real thick brush. We joked about the odds of a body being in there. At this point, the mood was still kinda jokey, just exploring forbidden territory. But when we got closer to that freezer, another terrible smell hit us. Like death and rot. We backed off quick, figured the worst. Didn't want to open it in case we saw something we really didn't want to see. Got a real bad vibe. Heading back, Anthony stopped, saying he heard something. We paused, listened, and yeah, we heard noises too. Hard to describe. Don't know if it was just normal woods creaking, or if our nerves were making everything sound louder. The brush was about head high. There was this big rock, and we each took turns standing on it to get a better look over the property. John got up there. We were still kinda logan. Then he turned to us. Looked like he'd seen a ghost. Wouldn't say a word. So I got up on the rock to see for myself. What I saw, it's burned into my brain. Over the brush, I saw a man sitting at a table with a black cat. That wasn't the scary part. When I looked at his face, there was nothing dash. No hair, no eyes, no mouth, no nose. No facial features at all dash. Call me crazy, but I know what I saw. We were maybe 50 feet away. Felt like the man was staring right at us, even though he had no eyes to see with. There was a woman with him too, and she made direct eye contact with me. Soon as she did, she took off running in a direction to cut us off from getting off the property. I still don't know if that man's blank face was real, or if he had white medical tape or bandages wrapped tight around it. Can't decide, but his face was pure white, and his head looked small. Still can't get that image out of my head. After that, it was still dusk, and we had a long hike back through the woods. Felt like we were being followed the whole way. Almost took a detour that would've added 2 miles just to get away. Heard weird noises, stomping feet, galloping sounds, even screams. Tried to move quiet, but fast through the woods. Made it back eventually, made sure nobody was tiling us. I genuinely still don't know what that was, or if it was even human. Can't shake that experience, and I know none of us are ever going back there. Part 3, the quarry and the gunshots. Went to a quarry over in McKinney, Texas, once. Never going back after what happened. Little backstory, so this makes sense. First time I went, it felt sketchy right off the bat. Me and a couple friends, Josh and Miles, headed there for cliff jumping. We'd seen YouTube videos of people doing it there, found out it was only about 30 minutes from where we lived. Both Miles and me could drive. I was 16, he was 17, so we figured, why not? Got there, and the vibe was off dash. Little dirt road led up, looped around the quarry. To the left were these junky-looking white metal buildings, like big boxes. To the right was a fence around the rock path leading to the water. Drove down in Miles's Jeep. Tons of signs. No trespassing, warning blasting zone. Even this big white piece of cardboard saying trespassers will be shot on sight. Important to note, in Texas, people can legally shoot you for trespassing, though it don't happen much. We decided to drive back to the start of the road, where there was a gravel parking lot by an old, untouched-looking building. Miles parked. We all kinda reluctantly got out and started walking towards the quarry. While walking, a truck drove right past us. Driver just looked at us with this blank expression. Scared the heck out of us when he passed, but cause he didn't do nothing, we figured maybe they don't care too much. Kept walking. Came to the fence where we needed to hop over to get onto the rock path to the water. Went to the smallest jumping spot first. Saw a big snake swimming in the water within 10 minutes of being there. So we wandered further down to a better spot, about 35 feet high. Depth checked it, spent about an hour jumping there. Got bored, moved to the next cliff. We were at the very end of the quarry, walking down a path to a bigger spot, when a black Humvee stopped. Lady driving, maybe mid-30s. Rolled down her window and yelled, "What are you boys doing?" Shocked us all. I tried sounding innocent, said something like, "Just looking for a place to swim, ma'am." She knew we were lying straight to her face, yelled some more. Then she said something I'll never forget. Picked up her phone and said, "I am calling the police, right now." Dashed. Me, Miles, and Josh froze. Scared to death. She told us to follow her, drove slow down the path about 20 feet to a gate. We followed, begging, saying we were sorry, we'd never come back. She finally said, "Police are on their way, so you better haul ass." That, way before they get here, pointing down the dirt path leading away. We said thanks and ran like the devil himself was chasing us, jumped in the Jeep, and peeled out. Wish that was the end. Couple months later, Miles asks if I'd ever go back. I said, kinda reluctant, maybe, if we had a bigger group. We got 5 guys together and went back in my car. Drove about an hour, parked at a church maybe 2 minutes walk from the quarry. Didn't want that lady seeing my car and getting my plate number. Walked down the dirt road towards the quarry. Passed a few cars. One stopped next to us, a guy, early 20s maybe, leaned out and said, "Watch out for a black Humvee." We thanked him, told him what happened last time, kept walking. Hopped the quarry fence. Decided to just go to the second spot, so we'd be a little more out of sight from the road. We were there about an hour, having fun, when a silver van pulled up to the end of the dirt road, about 25 yards away. Wasn't the black Humvee, so we didn't bolt immediately, but we started getting our stuff together just in case. Trees mostly blocked our view of it. Waited a minute, figured maybe the driver was just sitting there. Then we heard 2 loud gunshots, real close. Scared us half to death. The exit wasn't close. Maybe 300 yards to get off the quarry rocks, another 125 yards to get onto the main dirt road lead in off the property. I led the way, my friend Aiden right behind me. Heard more gunshots, maybe 40 yards away now. Sounded like he'd fired about 8 shots total. Looked back, couldn't see the shooter. Got to the fence, jumped it, landed on the main dirt road out. Pure luck, the guy who warned us about the Humvee was driving by in his white truck. We begged him for a ride. He gave us a lift to the end of the property line. Thanked him, then ran like crazy back to my car. Everyone piled in. We drove away, and none of us are ever seeing that quarry again. Part 4. The Lake House and the Circle of Chairs. Back in 2018, me and my cousin Ryan were deep into urban exploration. Hit up old factories, closed down schools, forgotten farmhouses looking ready to collapse. We weren't stupid about it. Tested floors, wore masks for asbestos, avoided anywhere that seemed guarded. But there was this one place we'd talked about for months. Neither of us had the guts to try. The big abandoned house on Lake Harlow shore. You could only ever see it from a distance, way back off the main road behind these tall, bent-in iron gates. Pines and brush grew wild, hiding most of it unless you caught a glimpse driving by. Local rumors were wild. Most common story, a rich family lived there in the 90s, then vanished overnight. Poof, gone. People claimed they left everything behind. Furniture, clothes, dishes, even family photos. Theories flew. Went broke, witness protection, or something darker. Nobody ever bought it. Place just rotted for over 20 years. The afternoon we went, weather was gray and dead still. Parked at a hiking trailhead about half a mile away, snuck in through the woods to avoid the road. As we got closer, the roof popped through the trees, and man, it was big dash. 3 stories, tall windows, wide wraparound porch, all falling apart. Paint peeling off in strips, sections of the porch sagged in. We circled around back, moving quiet just in case. Back door was unlocked. Stepped inside, the air changed. Stale, smelled faintly of lake water and dust. First thing we saw was the kitchen, like a movie set frozen in time. Plates stacked neat on the counter, a coffee cup with a dried brown ring sitting by the sink. Cabinets hanging open, showing ancient boxes of expired food. A faded calendar on the wall still showed May 1997. Moved through the downstairs slow. Living room had furniture covered in yellowed sheets. Fireplace full of crumbly old ash, like the last fire burned out decades ago. Hallway had family photos, people smiling at barbecues, dressed up for Christmas. Gave me the chills, honestly. Something eerie about seeing happy family pictures in a place dead and abandoned for so long. Some photos were so sun-faded the faces were almost ghost white. Upstairs is where things got weird. First bedroom, bed perfectly made, but all the dresser drawers wide open and totally empty. Another room, floor completely covered in newspapers from 1997, every one folded open to the classifieds. Didn't think much of it till I saw the dates. All from the same week in July. And every circled ad was for private buyers wanting quiet transactions. The master bedroom was the strangest. Heavy curtains drawn shut. Pulled them back, found the windows boarded up from the inside dash. The closet door had a rusted padlock on it. Floor in front was all scratched up, like something heavy got dragged partway out, but stuck. Ryan wanted to bust it open. I talked him out of it. No tools, and I wasn't keen on breaking stuff where we shouldn't be. He suggested checking the basement before leaving. Basement door was in a narrow hall off the kitchen. Opened it. A wave of damp, cold, mildewy air hit us. Stairs were wooden, creaking like they'd give way any second. Basement was big, thick stone walls, wooden shelves along one side. Mostly empty, just a few rusted cans and a broken lantern. But right in the center of the room, lit up by our flashlights, 5 chairs. Mismatched, old, but arranged in a perfect circle dash. And unlike everything else dusty in the house, these seats looked used dash. I was about to whisper something to Ryan when we both froze. Thud dash. Somewhere above us, a door closed shut, clear as a bell. Then, footsteps, crossing the floor right over our heads. We killed our flashlights instantly. Stood in the pitch black, barely breathing. Footsteps paused, then started again, heading straight for the hallway above the basement. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. No cars outside. No sound since we got there. Whoever was up there had been silent till now. Footsteps stopped again, right above the basement door. Then, the sound of the doorknob, rattling dash. My blood turned to ice water. Ryan grabbed my arm, yanked me towards the far end of the basement. There was a small, ground-level window, broken, half covered by a rotten shutter. Barely big enough. Didn't care. I went first, scraped my jacket on the broken glass, dropped down into wet dirt outside. Ryan was right behind me. We sprinted into the trees, didn't dare look back until we were deep in the woods. When I finally glanced over my shoulder, I saw the basement door wide open, and someone standing in it. Too far to see details, just tall and still. Head tilted slightly, like they were watching us run. Didn't stop running till we hit the car. Barely said a word the whole ride home. That night, I just kept replaying it. The chairs, the footsteps, the locked closet, that figure standing in the doorway. Couple weeks later, Ryan calls me. Said he posted in a Facebook group of skin about the house's history. An older guy responded, said there have been sightings of someone in that house. First guess would be a squatter, sure. But that guy said, that wouldn't explain the strange, almost ritualistic circle of clean chairs in the basement. At this point, not my problem to worry about. I'm just real glad we got out of there in one piece.